At one point, there were documents where the U.S. government took audio recordings during the 1930s and the 1940s of black people who were former slaves. And a lot of them recalled during slavery, they were degendered to a certain degree, meaning that their individual sexuality was not recognized. The black boys and girls were all treated interchangeably. And a lot of the black males, when they were children, they said that they had to wear dresses. They would put everybody in dresses. And that was a way to degender and to dehumanize a group of people. If you don't look at them as a gender or what their gender is, and you just make them interchangeable, you can dehumanize them to a certain degree. And that was a very common thing during slavery, the degendering of black people. At one point, there were...
All right, Shalom. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Rakakadash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Salutation to all the brothers and a few sisters out there. Unto his like foreigners, from seed Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob Shalom in the Hebrew, which means peace. Hearing this was vexation. When I first heard this, I was like, the fuck? But then it started to make sense. Then everything started to add up. Because this one is in the scriptures. And two, when it comes down to the rights of Israel, which are Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, no matter what they say, you are the sons of the Heavenly Father. And once you put, every time they talk about a certain group of people and the struggles of that set group of people, not just be the civil rights, they always mesh together another group of people that they are what they are, not by choice, by a demon. All right. And they do that for pleasure, not for survival. So this thing that he just said makes absolute sense. Okay. And who is the poster child of that whole agenda became Negro, you Jakes. They made you the poster child of that complete abominable workings. So they associate your struggle. Matter of fact, let me get that first. Jeremiah 15:5. It says, "For who shall have pity upon thee, O Jerusalem? Or who shall bemoan thee? Or who shall go aside to ask thou how thou doest?" And why is this a question for him? Because basically the Lord is saying, like, nobody cares about you. Nobody cares about our struggle. All right. And the key thing that he said, they dehumanize that struggle. All right, that PTSD that all Jake has because of slavery. And none of these nations, all right, especially the so-called white man, cares less. All right, then, because as soon as you make mention of it, what do? They deflect what happened onto the Lord's people. And then they go to, what about this group? What about that group? But we're talking about this particular group of people. All right. So this whole thing from calling us 3/5 of a man, which is less than a man, not even above an animal. All right. Even animals have more rights than the people do. Then you start to see how this whole agenda, this whole struggle that we've been going through, they mesh it with the other agenda because they care less. So when you bring up certain facts, they always want to throw you in with, what about the women? Women, they fought for their rights and this, that, and the third. And these moles over here, and it has nothing to do with anything. Women voting don't got nothing to do with civil rights. Women, two men decided to bump or to get with each other has nothing to do with civil rights. But they played the minds of the people. The scripture says what? Let me use this. Zechariah 11 and 5. No, and 5 it says, who possesses slay them and hold themselves not guilty. So they slay us. They continually slay us. All right, which are NLT. Their buyers slaughter them and go unpunished, and they're not being punished by it because in their mind they haven't done nothing wrong because these are not real people. You see, you can't be considered a man, and this is why during the '60s men was fighting just as to be considered a man. A black man was literally fighting to be a man. All right, he was a man, but society treated him like a little child, like a little boy. So he was always fighting everybody. So when these cracker ass crackers would talk to a Jake, you'll call him a boy. All right, and a boy is a status. So he basically he's like, you have no rank, you have no nothing, you got no status. And then when you bring this up to them, oh, they're like, what did we do wrong, right? And they that seldom say, blessed be the Lord, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not. So we had nobody to empathize with the cause. This is why the Lord raised up his prophets, okay, and telling the nation who they are. Because if he had it up to Esau, we already know how he conduct themselves and what that part of history get into. Joel 3, I saw that one. It says, for behold, in those days, in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem. Judah, obviously the head tribe, but amongst Judah was Judah, Benjamin, Levi. And Jerusalem, all right, that's all the tribes. But the Lord's focal point here was Judah, Benjamin, Levi. It says, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat. So the Lord is having a roll call. He's calling all personnel. All right. He's mustering all people. And no matter what the situation, how dire it may seem, they are all compelled to present themselves. Hey, when the Lord calling, who cannot go? You know, who can't say who cannot go? So the Lord's right now, Yahweh, Hashem Yahushua is right now is putting the mind of the people to enter in the Middle East. They don't know what reason. They may think it's a strategic strategy, all right, to ensure that America doesn't take over. They may feel that to prevent Russia, China, so that their influence can't influence the world. It could be plethora of reasons why the Lord is must put in their mind, but overall, He's put in their mind for a good reason. And I'm gonna read it. It says, "And I will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat," which, when you break it down in the Hebrew, is Yahweh Shaphat. This is why you need to know the words, what it means. Yahweh Shaphat means Yahweh judge. Yahweh's judgment. All right. So he's going to bring them into a valley to judge them. That valley is standing. That's in damn near all Saudi Arabia. It says, and I will plead with them there for my people, for my heritage Israel, whom they have sold, whom they have scattered among the nations and part of my land. So give you the reason why the Lord is gathering them up. And they have cast lots for my people. Casting lots is what? An auctioning block. So he showed it. Let's see if because sometimes they pop up, so I don't want to lose it. Okay. I'm not gonna play it like I'm. So he was talking about it. I just want to show the picture. So these old folks, they went through that, and it was telling them. But guess what? Although they was telling them the truth, this is an auctioning block right here, and this guy, the guy in the so-called cracker, is putting the price upon them. So they cast lots for the Lord's people. Okay, so what they was doing back then, there was other videos that you could find on YouTube. Old slavers, old slave people would tell you what they was going through. That's still alive to this day. All right, and they'll tell you how they was living, how they is to get up in the morning. Um, I remember it was an old woman that was telling how the overseer asked her if she takes a bath. And she said, "Yeah, make sure I take. She make sure she cleans herself every day." He said, "Nah, don't clean yourself no more, so you can get up and do more work." This is how they treated our people. All right, so don't come on our comment boards and saying, "Oh, we gotta love and forgive and forget." Certain things is not meant to forgive and forget. This was a dehumanizing situation, even to the children. All right, that even our children was being dehumanized, and it was given. Let's just get into it. It says they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for a harlot. So a young boy, okay, who had no status, it was given like a harlot. Which, hold on, we get that word. 1 Corinthians 6 and 9, and when you go into the word, is it effeminate? Yeah, I believe it's effeminate. Know you not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of the Most High? Which ultimately the unrighteous is Esau, Edom. All right, be not deceived. Neither fornicators, the biggest fornicator is Esau. No idolaters, worshiping different gods. No adulteries, which damn near everybody commits. Adultery is a pastime in America. It's like apple pie. It's highly praised in the society. No effeminate. Now, when you go into the word effeminate, it's very important. That's why you have to look up words. Monikos, soft to touch, metaphorically in bad sense. Effeminate of a catamite, of a boy kept for homosexual relations with a man. So I just tell you straight up, this is the traits of people that's not going to enter in the kingdom of heaven, which it all falls unto Esau. So they kept little boys because that was part of the Greekish fashion, which the Greeks, which everybody, the first civilization, according to some, were the Greeks, which was ran by Esau. Okay, so they kept young boys as something to play with. All right, so going back to Joel 3:2, and they have cast lots for my people and have given a boy for an harlot. So this is what they was doing. So finding out from who is this guy again? I forgot this guy's name. But he brought up that fact. Remember, bringing up that fact proves one thing: children was being molested. All right, by the term right now, pedo. That's the U.S. government. All right, is ran by pedos. Slave owners were pedos. Are you not ginger? Was that a boy? They call them bucks, right? The young bucks. I forgot what they called it. The young girls, but this was what they would call them. They would dehumanize them, even to the sense of if they was young boys or not. All right. So you fucked Esau. You Lord is gonna do something. This is long overdue. It says, and sold a girl for wine that they might drink. So all these nations are guilty of doing these lewd acts towards the Lord's people, harming the children. All right. So this whole thing that's going on of them, um, all of a sudden, children is calling themselves something that they're not, and then pushing that philosophy is nothing new under the sun. This is what they was doing. This is the exact thing that they were doing. And the Lord is not, he has not forgotten. Real quick, I ain't gonna make this too long. But this is the shit that we have to deal with. Isaiah 47 and 6. I was wroth with my people. I have polluted my inheritance. So the Lord's inheritance, his land and his people. So the Lord said he was pissed at his people. He allowed us to get polluted. Part of that pollution was the acts that these men was what they were doing to the Lord's people. All right, and giving them into thy hand. So the Lord gave us, the Israelites, Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, into your hand. And look what you have done. You have abused, you have sexually abused our people. You raped the women. You raped the men. All right, called buck breaking. You raped the boys, treated them um, like they were women. You destroyed a whole fucking generation of people. Okay, if anybody that's not human or that needs to be dehumanized is you, because you don't even treat animals the way how they was treating Jake. It says, and giving them into thy hand, that didst show them no mercy. So there was no mercy granted from you devils. All right. And then when you did foul things, you enforced the woman to be in a position of power, being an emotional wreck. When every time a young man said, "Nah, I had enough," because that spirit will rise up, you sent forth the mothers, the sisters, and whoever to try to calm this man out for because you fear the consequences and repercussions that will be done onto you. And this is long overdue. Upon the ancient has thou very heavily laid thy yoke, physical yoke. All right. Matter of fact, I was done with that, right? Yeah. It's like I'm yawning. Deuteronomy 28 and 48. It says, "Thou shalt serve thy enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, and in hunger and in thirst and nakedness, and in want of all things." To this day, you know, Jake act like they could make it. We gotta. do businesses together, and we gotta make our own community, and this, that, to the third. All that shit's been done. And guess what? They burnt it down, and you still gotta go to this people because this is not our rest. This is not our land. All right. This is a curse that's on us. It says, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until ye have destroyed thee. So there's a literal um, chain around our necks. Matter of fact, show and tell. Jeez, I thought it was. I'm gonna just put it in and see what it says. Yoke of iron. Yoke of iron is a biblical and for a metaphorically served unbreakable oppression, servitude, and hardship. Let's show a picture. This is a yoke of iron. Who had that around their neck? Oh, there you go. This is the famous one right here. So this yoke of iron is around this man's neck. The reason why they have hooks, if Casey tried to escape in the bushes, he would get caught. All right, he would get caught. That's a yoke of iron upon his neck. This is the famous picture. Okay, so he couldn't run. If he ran, he would have got caught. Probably snap his neck. I don't see no small hatters that have a yoke of iron on their neck. History shows. History shows. Matter of fact, we gonna get that scripture. Daniel 9:12. It says, yeah, straight to the point. He have confirmed his words, which he hath spake against us and against our judges that judge us, by bringing upon us a great evil under the whole heaven has been done upon Jerusalem. So yeah, we are the victims of this set unmerciful people. All right, you can't get around this. You can't get around this, yo. I just went to Yoka Iron and everything else popped up. See, everything else popped up. The evidence has shown that you devils are you're going down. And it says, he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. So can he destroy us? No. This is the most resilient people on the planet Earth for a reason. Baruch, or I said that one. It says, this is the book of the commandments of the Most High, and the law that endure forever. All they that keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die. So you're better off knowing who you are, knowing where you came from is far better than being lost. All right, remaining in the congregation of the dead. Know your history. It's disgusting. It's vile. There's some shit that's been done unto Israel. When you find the moment that you find out, your anger, your sadness, all sorts of emotions come in one, and it's like we never caught a break. That's how you feel within yourself. All right, that's how you feel. Like through history shows, like we've been effed up, but there's a light behind that tunnel. Okay, that's where we walk in. We walk in that light, and the Lord has shown Yeah, these things done happen to us. Matter of fact, we just jump down. Verse 6. You were sold to the nations not for your destruction. So it may seem like it was for our own destruction. It may seem that we had no hopes. But because you have moved the Most High to wrath, you were delivered to your enemies. And this is the reason why. Because we pissed the Lord off. But you provoke me, verse I provoke him that made you by sacrificing to the devils. And the root cause. Let me just jump down. It says, in fact, like you. Baruch 4 and 25. My children, suffer patiently the wrath that has come upon you from the Most High, for thine enemies have persecuted you. But shortly thou shalt see his destruction and shall trod upon his neck. So we're seeing your downfall. Everything's coming out. It's like the thinking of the scripture too. It just popped up in my head. But it's like, matter of fact, we get it. It says it best. I believe it's Isaiah 26:19. It says thy dead men shall live together with the dead bodies, shall they rise, awake and sing. The dead bodies, not talking about physically dead bodies, spiritually dead. It says, awake and sing, ye that dwell in the dust. The dust is the confusion. All right. So those of us that dwell in the dust, which was damn near all of us, Daniel, what's it? Daniel 12 tells you, 12 and 3. Matter of fact, let me get that real quick. Come back to this and wrap it up with the other one again. Daniel 12 and 3. It says, and they that be wise shall shine as the brightness. Matter of fact, nah, it's not 8. 12. And many of them that sleep in the dust, that confusion of the earth shall wake. So proving that the dust is a confused state. All right. And what are they going to wake from? They're going to wake to realize who they are. Some to everlasting life, which is what? The truth. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Okay, that's the everlasting life. Because knowing is going to save souls. All right. The Lord chosen certain people to react to this. And it says, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. So everybody was in that dust state, that confusion state. So if you are awake, the Lord remove that dust from your eye, so to speak, and you want to go back, you're the biggest fool. So going back to this, what was I? Isaiah 26:19, I believe. It says, and that thy dead men, shall live together with my dead body. Shall they arise, which who died and was risen up was Yahushua. All right, Yahushua awoken from the dead. So we all waking up from that dead state, awake and sing. And what are we singing? Gospel songs? No, the singing is preaching this word, telling these devils all the stuff that you have done unto us is going to be done unto you, but in righteousness. We're not going to put dresses on your little boys. All right, we're not going to do no homosexual acts like how you had done unto us. But what we will do, according and the guidance of the law, all the stuff that we can do. Okay? And it says, yeah, they that dwell in the dust, going back to that dust, for the dew is as the dew of herbs, and the earth shall cast out the dead. The dew tells you the word of the Lord is going to come like the dew, like a rain. All right? Which is going to revive us. So the Lord has raising us up. So we have to suffer this thing patiently. All right? And we had to go through it because patience and suffering are synonymous. Verse 26, my delicate ones have gone rough ways and were taken away as a flock together of the enemies. Be of good cheer. So all this spite, all this stuff that had happened to us, the scriptures demand us to be in good cheer. Why? O my people, cry unto the Most High, for ye shall be remembered of him that brought these things upon you. Because the Lord is remembering us. He put us back in memory. Why? I read the end results. I keep saying it through the Spirit. World War III is not for nations and who's going to control. Is the Lord getting revenge for what they have done unto his people. So that's the Lord fighting back on our behalf. All right? On our behalf. He's not allowing nothing to happen to us. Well, he allowed it to happen, but now he's going to get back those that did us dirty. It says, as for as it was in your mind to go astray, so being returned, seek him 10 times more, which meaning we are waking up from that dust state. We seek the Lord 10 times more. We do these shows. We go out in the highways and the byways, whatever is required of us, because what the Lord is going to give us, He's going to give us that revenge. The Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushua is going to put that spirit. That spirit is going to remember every single thing that was done. These bodies and vessels can't remember all the stuff that has been done to us personally. But the good thing is that history shows. All right. So that's like the Lord reviving us, allowing us to know all the atrocities has been done unto our people. And it says, but he that brought these plagues upon you shall bring you everlasting joy with salvation. Take a good heart, O Jerusalem, for he that have given thee that name will comfort thee, which Jerusalem means city of peace. Miserable are they that afflicted thee, and rejoice at thy fall. Miserable are the cities which thy children served. Miserable is she that receiveth thy sons. So this place is, that's why this place is in a state of misery. You want to know why everybody feels that the way they feel about America of lately, and everybody's crying about inflation and so forth? That's part of the misery of what has been done unto our people. A lot of people are not going to quite grasp it, but that's the reality of it. This is of centuries buildup, and now everybody's complaining. Like everybody's is are hurt. Why are you bringing up these things of the past? So that's a spirit of misery because they can't shake it. We're like constantly reminding them of what they have done, and they can't shake it. It says, miserable are the cities which thy children served. Miserable is she that received thy sons. For as she rejoiced at thy ruin, and that's part of a ruin. Because if they did that to a handful of children and they don't know who they are, they could constantly abuse you and do all these stuff. Guess what? At the end of the day, at the very end of the day, they're going to have to pay for that. Because they made mockery of our fall. They really did a number from posters, from slave movies, and so forth. Well designed racist remarks and racist acts, all of that. They enjoyed our fall. It says, and was glad at thy fall. We're going to Lamentations, what? This is the day that we all been waiting for. Was it 2 and 15? All right. Nations clap their hands. And they all waited for that fall. So shall she be grieved for her own desolation. And that's why everybody is in grievance. The nations, they all grieving. People in America are grieving. People want to flee. They're saying, right, this is not living. You know? But will take away the rejoicing of her great multitudes, and her pride shall be turned into mourning. And that's the spirit that the Lord have put upon this place. All right? America, when he said, Trump, gonna make America great again, gonna make it great. Nope, can't make America great again. You will never make America great again. America is going to always remain in a mourning state. For fire shall come upon her from the everlasting, long to endure, and she shall be inhabited of devils for a great time, which is the destiny for America. So with that being said, shalom to the elect of the nations. Shalom.